Hello everyone and happy Saturday. Yep, it's guess I'm working this Saturday after all, which yay, money. It's me, Alex Axe, and well, hopefully you're in a better situation than me this Saturday, but money. And I decided that since I was sitting here waiting for the guys who control the water meter to show up so that my crew can do backfill, I might as well do a vlog, because why not? Because it's helping me avoid writing the second act of my rough draft. And what kind of got me thinking was also Sean and McGuire wrote a really kind of heartfelt, heartbreaking thread on Twitter about being on welfare and what welfare means, and you know, Social Security isn't welfare and stuff like that. And it got me thinking, at Mile High Con, I was actually, one of the panels I was on was about universal basic income, which I am a huge fan of universal basic income. And, you know, there's a lot of interesting things to hash out about that, and especially as a thought experiment. But the one place where we kind of really almost got into it with someone in the audience was, I've been saying over and over again, the whole idea with universal basic income is that everyone gets it. You get universal basic income because you are a person, therefore you deserve it. Like, you know, it doesn't matter like what moral judgment society puts on you. It doesn't matter if you are quote unquote productive, which, you know, if nothing else, a universal basic income future is probably one where most of the jobs are being done by robots anyway, so the question of productivity is going to be like a very different one. But as if they had not really been listening to that entire thing, an audience member stood up and was like, well, what about these people who are going to abuse it and don't deserve it? And you know, of course, the minute I hear these people coming out of the mouth of someone who's a white person like me, to be honest, I hear black people, because institutionalized racism. And, you know, of course, because I've grown up my entire goddamn life always hearing about these people abusing welfare, and what you actually mean is they're talking about, oh, black people get welfare and we're really upset about that. So I was already like automatically like, eh. But the bigger thing is this idea of worthiness. And I think that's really tied in a lot with the giant wad of shame that gets heaped on anyone who needs to be on welfare or disability or any kind of public assistance. Like, it's this stupid, you know, fuck the Puritans, because so much of this is their fault and has just been propagated and passed down, and you know, fuck the prosperity gospel too while I'm at it. But like, we need to, as a society, particularly if we are living in a post-scarcity world, which I believe we are, because frankly at this point I believe that any scarcity that we feel as poor or working class or middle class people, you know, in the US, but I honestly think at this point it's global. The scarcity that we see is manufactured, because especially you look at the shit like, say, the Paradise Papers, where there is just an absolutely phenomenal amount of global wealth being hoarded by a very small number of people who are keeping it in places where it cannot be accessed by, say, the people who are starving and desperately need it. And frankly, you know, I'm still of the opinion that I think it's absolutely obscene that anyone owns two houses when people here are sleeping under bridges, and honestly people abroad are also going without running water and all that, because at this point what's causing so much of that is the collection of wealth in the hands of a few people, and you know, collecting it in certain countries, and then in certain countries it's this horrible pyramid where, you know, most of it just goes to a couple of people at the top. So anyway, the whole point is, if we truly live in a post-scarcity society where there would be no scarcity if it were not manufactured by the wealthy and business interests, then we need to stop even considering this concept of worthiness. Because what makes you worthy... Sorry, I'm getting kind of like upset about this actually. But what makes you worthy to eat and have shelter and have a decent life and fucking have healthcare, because healthcare should be a human right too, is the fact that you were born. You know, I think as soon as the idea of there are worthy and unworthy people of receiving the basic services of society is brought up, then what you're doing is you're allowing like a judgment of, you know, we can now split us into an us versus them, so who is going to judge who is worthy and who is not. But when we were talking about the basic necessities, everyone is worthy. And the idea that you need to somehow prove that you deserve to be able to eat at this point is pretty obscene. And people need to fucking let it go. And I know part of it comes from this fear of like, when you already feel like you don't have a whole lot, and of course, you know, the fucking wealth class is basically propagating this lie that, oh, well, if we're going to feed the poor people, it's going to come out of your pocket, because it's certainly not, you know, it's you know, it's back down to I can pay one half of the working class to kill the other half of the working class. It's a giant manipulation. So what I want to see is I want to see people let go of this idea of is somebody worthy to receive the basic necessities of life, because of course they're fucking worthy. I don't care. You know, we were talking about in the universal basic income, people were like, well, what are they going to do with their money? And I was like, it's none of your fucking business what they're going to do with their money. If they want to, like, at this point, you know, in the future of universal basic income, where all the jobs, you know, most of the jobs are done by robots, and bless the robots for doing the shitty customer service jobs, because they're hopefully not going to care as much if people are assholes to them. And they have to smile anyway. But, like, if you want to take your UBI and sit on your ass in your house and play Xbox all day and eat takeout Chinese food, it's none of my fucking business. Because at that point, and I think it's like this real psychological shift, like at that point, and I don't think we're that far off from that kind of future. At that point, you sitting on the couch and playing Xbox for 12 hours a day doesn't hurt anything, and there is no productivity that society is losing out on, and this idea that we have to be endlessly productive and always make more is also a really fucking poisonous idea. Like, you know, the idea that something needs to grow endlessly is, you know, the only thing in life that really grows boundlessly is like cancer. So let's just consider that as a model. But yeah, I know I'm sounding really like out there at this point, or maybe not even that out there, I don't know. But anyway, just it's you don't get to decide if somebody is worthy of life, you know, because frankly those moralistic judgments are really like a shitty path, you know, especially because then you look at, oh, are people worthy of like receiving disability? Like the hoops people have to jump through to get onto disability are fucking ridiculous, and there are so many more people who should have disability who don't, which is why I'm like, yeah, universal basic income, because then you don't need shit like disability and all that stuff, because that's all just like taken care of in that. But anyway, I just wanted to say, like, I just hate the thought of, you know, I'm so tired of this worthiness discussion and this idea that people who need assistance should be ashamed and should have to like basically wear sackcloth and ashes just in order to have the basic necessities of life. I'm really done with it. And I'm hoping more people will step up and be like, no, this is bullshit. You get it because you're a person and you need to eat. And, you know, and that shouldn't just be here. That should be something that we're seeing everywhere. And hey, wealth distribution, that is the thing that needs to be addressed, because, you know, our scarcities are manufactured. So that's a happy vlog for a Saturday. I'm hopefully gonna get to go home soon and do my boring adult stuff. Have a good Saturday.